Sitting right here next to me is an actor, comedian, presenter who's been nominated for numerous awards and won numerous awards. I'm here with the great Eddie Kadi. How you doing, brother?
Not too bad. They're great, bro. I like that. They're great. I like that. How you doing, bro, man?
Good,
Pleasure.
Good. When did it all start, and why did you decide to be a comedian?
You know what? I think comedy decided to be me. I'll be honest with you. I never decided to be a comedian. It caught me at a time where I was actually taking life a lot more serious.
Yeah.
I was at university.
Yeah.
And I remember my second year, I joined the African Caribbean Society, and I was a spokesperson. And naturally, we had a showcase, and we tried to book a few presenters, well-known comedians. We didn't have the budget. And I thought, since I'm a spokesperson, I'm a meeting coordinator, it's not hard to bring acts onto the stage.
Right.
Little did I know that performing will get people really, you know, just chuckling at everything I said. I just tried to be entertaining, didn't really try to be funny.
Yeah.
And then off the back of that, different universities wanted me involved as such. And then I finished uni, I was performing every now and then, and the passion really came after university, where I worked for a year, still kind of doing little showcases. But it got to a stage where I said, I really like performing, and maybe I should give it a go full time. Yeah. So there was a period where I was working for a TV station, and then I got given my own show out there because I was working behind the camera. And I had a show because the boss saw that I was a performer. Right. And then the stand-up came off the back of that because I was talking to the camera in my show, and I was very funny, and people put me on stage. Yeah. Then one thing led to another, and I just started performing absolutely everywhere. And I didn't even realize I was doing stand-up. I just used to come on stage and introduce acts and sometimes talk for 10 minutes.
And have a little banter.
There you go. And then, that was 3 years ago, and I've never looked back since.
So during that time, did you learn techniques? Were you inspired by other comedians around you?
That's a very good question. I was naive. I mean, I would just get on stage and talk. There was no technique. The technique was mic, mouth, open. To dance, you know. That was a technique. And in terms of inspiration from other comedians, because I never really, comedy wasn't something I ever thought I'd get into. I never really looked at it that way. I mean, back in the days, you watch the real McCoys, you watch Desmond, you see Richard Blackwood, Angela Marr. You didn't really connect until you just saw them as people that were on TV. I never thought comedians. And it's not until later on when I started getting into the game as much, and then I realized, oh my God, these guys really did their thing. And people like Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. I thought Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor were just actors. Call me crazy, but I thought Richard Pryor was the guy of Superman. And Eddie Murphy was the actor of Beverly Hills, you know, every 24 hours, you know what I mean? Didn't attach him to all that stuff, raw, delirious. I saw all that afterwards. So,
But that's the beauty of comedy. That's why comedy is comedy, because there's comedians tell things that people can relate to, and that's why people laugh. So you say you talk about your upbringing, you know, being African and so on and so forth. Do you feel that it's hard to hit like a white crowd or a different race crowd?
Well, I mean, when I first started, it was predominantly, you know, just a black crowd, and so I talked about black issues. But when you start performing in front of other people, you naturally just sort of start talking about things they can relate to, and that's where I think the technique comes in, and also you kind of realize, am I naturally funny or am I trying to be funny? You know, because the thing is, I wouldn't say I find it harder. I just find it more challenging. It just means that I have to kind of dig deep and think of other things in general, and I've learned to do that.
Is there a fine line of being a comedian? Because, you know, these days we live in a PC world. Not the shop, not the electrical shop. In the world, PC. You know, so do you find you have to limit your jokes and not go over the edge and say certain things about race and colour and sexuality and so on and so forth?
I mean, with me, it's crazy because when I started comedy anyway, I always had my mum in the back of my head, so there's certain things I wouldn't talk about. I never really spoke about sex, and if I did talk about sex, it would be more, how would I put it, sophisticated.
Are you going to go down that same road that they have? You mentioned Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Eddie Murphy, so on. You know, like, they had their days doing their live stand-ups, and now they don't do it. And people are begging to see them. But people like even Chris Tucker, he done comedy, he done a couple of films, and now he's not even doing anything. So, you know, are you going to leave the stand-up alone when another venture comes, or are you going to keep doing the stand-up until...
Bro, I have tried to leave stand-up before I even get to that level, you understand? Yeah, I've got this love-hate relationship with stand-up. I realized a long time ago I wanted to be a presenter. That's what I used to do. I used to host shows, and it felt good bringing people on and just moving on. And I got to a stage where I was like, you know what, this stand-up is taking over. It's kind of diverting me away from my rules and my dreams. But I realized it's the stand-up that got me attention in the first place. It's the stand-up that's opened all these doors. So I can't really let it go. So it's like I kind of looked at stand-up and said, all right, you know what, look. It's a long journey I'm going to, innit? You've done all right for me. Just don't ruin me.
But you worked with Lenny Henry in the past, haven't you? Done an animated series and so on.
I'm currently doing that now. It's kind of weird because you know, it's a 2-year project, and the project basically they've set up a massive production company. Tiger Aspect, which is a production company, have set up this massive kind of production in Kenya, where they've trained sound engineers, animators, artists from Africa, and they're getting all the voices from here, and it's like a story about the animal kingdom. And
what animal are you then?
I'm a Nigerian parrot and a Ghanaian zebra.
Cool.
Right, and then, but you got the 3 non-blondes on there as well, Jocelyn G, and you got Mira Sayal from Goodness Gracious Me, Felix Dexter, and a few cast members from the play of The Lion King, which is on.
That's a good look. That's a good look.
London. So it's Lenny Henry is also involved. So it's fantastic. I have fun doing it.
Is there anyone else in the comedy world that you would like to work with?
Oh wow, yeah, I want to work with Michael McIntyre. For me personally, that's the guy at the moment who's absolutely.
He's a guy that like really hits nail on the head. Like yes, and he's so generic that no matter who you are,
you can be
you can relate to what he's saying. Yeah,
laugh. Like exactly that. And I think I aspire to get to that level where it's like you just don't see the culture in it, whatever. Jonathan Ross is someone else. He's a presenter, but you know what, funny guy, and that's why they get him to host the British Comedy Awards all the time. But there is, I mean, for me personally, I just think there's so many comics out there that are doing their thing that I would like to almost work with, like, everyone.
So what does the future hold for Eddie now? What's going on in your life now?
Well, the focus, right now at the moment, I'm working with, I'm at One Extra. I've been there for just over a year now. I've done a few shows. I did the Christmas and Boxing Day breakfast show there last year, and then I ended up co-hosting a couple of shows with Trevor Nelson. Then I had my own show on there, but now I'm working with Tim Westwood on his new drive time slot, 4 till 7. And the idea of that is that I kind of do sketches with him. So we have sketches that spread out throughout the whole week. So I'm doing that, and then at the same time also, the main thing that I'm focusing on, which I'm gearing up towards, is the Ohtv in September, because I've done the Indigo at the O2 twice, so now we're going for the 10,000 capacity in September. So like I'm literally inviting everyone, including your pets.
Wicked. There you go. Terrapins included. Bring them. Bring the goldfish.
Bring the goldfish. Don't forget the goldfish.
You can't forget the goldfish.
We've got space for the goldfish.
But they might forget the show.
Exactly. But like so that's the main focus. And throughout that whole time, I've got I'm currently working on a show as well, which is on Sky, Ohtv channel 199 on Sky. That's every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Doing that. And next year there's just going to be a lot of other stuff. I'm eating a lot at my restaurant in North London.
And what restaurant is that?
It's called the Black Grape.
Oh, it's
called Black Grape. Yeah,
got the banner up there.
Yeah, look, see, it's now open, as you can see. It's now open.
There's black grape there.
Yeah.
There's not enough grapes.
You know what? We don't have as much grapes as we would like to. That's why it says Black Grape. Not enough grapes. Do you have grapes? No, we're lacking in grapes today. We're lacking in grapes. And we've got Black Grape. But yeah, so it's an African Caribbean restaurant. Okay. And good food, man. Right now we're sitting at the actual other side of it, which is a live music venue. And we've got showcases happening, comedy shows, and we've had a few people that have come by, you know. So it's a good look. Cool. Definitely.
So eating food on TV, radio, planning a show, reading scripts. You're a parrot and what's the other animal? A zebra. Eddie Kadi is in town and he's in your face this year, next year, and then more years to come.
Doing it major, I'm doing it major. Money, and bad behavior. I'm doing it major. Looking for a girl that'll do me a favor. I'm doing it major. Money, and bad behavior. So fresh for my favorite, have for my trainers. Shine like a star, too bright for my haters.
What's the first toy you ever owned?
It was one of those cowboys. You know, you had the mini cowboy soldiers, like a pack of. You remember that, bro? And you created wars. They were green, but then you had the cowboy who was brown, and it's still like this. And then you had the soldiers.
This one pose, or there was one laying down on the floor,
and all the soldiers like that in green. And you're thinking you're all shooting the same way. What is going on? And the cowboy like, you're never gonna get me.
I remember that.
Because I'm not standing in it.
Do you remember those parachute things that had a hole in the back? And when you throw out the window, it'll be gone. You run downstairs to get it. Someone's it.
You see the little kid running around going, you idiot. Oh, yes. You just took my memories back.